girls very shortly behind him. They'll be coming out and grabbing their bit of food. Now, the reason we do this, folks, is because this is how it would work out in the wild. Here come the girls. Dun, 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 dun. Please don't be scared. By the way, they've got no napkins. They will just tuck straight in front of you. So if anybody's just had dinner and feeling kind of squeamish, that sort of thing, don't look too closely. They've got no manners. But these guys, it's just how they are, really. I wouldn't expect anything different. Okay, now, whilst this is going on, folks, it is feeding time. Food generally tends to have a funny effect on people. We've all heard of the term, hopefully, hangry. It's when you're so hungry that you are angry. Well, these guys, it's exactly the same. They sometimes get quite aggressive when they're hungry, and when they've got their food. So if they do start knocking 7 bells out of each other, please don't panic. This is completely normal, and the claws are sheathed. They won't injure each other on purpose. They do quite like each other, actually. But it's just one of those things. These guys will wolf their food very quickly. However, if one does it more than the others, they will try and take each other's food. And that's when it gets real interesting. And I'll start taking your bets as and when it happens. All right? But right over the back, we'll do the introductions first. We've got a lovely big male line. His name is Boss. Boss is 5 years of age. He's going to be 6 this year, in the middle of August. So he's going to be 6 years old this year. He's a fine figure of a male African lion. He's doing very well for himself. He currently weighs about 170 kilograms, which is a big thing. Which actually makes it all the more impressive when you consider that in this day and age, there are human beings that weigh more than him. Because, well, let's take the world's strongest man contest, for example. The most recent winner of that was the Icelandic mountain Hafthor Bjornsson, who currently weighs 190 kilograms. Boss here, in perspective, is about 28, 29 stone. Hafthor Bjornsson's about 33. So it just goes to show you how big of a man he is, because that ain't a small pussycat, okay? I'll tell you. Now, alongside Boss in the enclosure, we've got 2 girls. A lot of people think he's quite lucky in that respect. I beg to differ, okay? And the reason for this, folks, up the top of the podium, we have one of his sisters, who's called Samira. Samira is also 5 years of age. It'd be no surprise to you that the other lioness down here in the corner is also 5 years of age. This one down here, this is Amali. Okay, so we've got Samira and Amali. Samira's at the top podium at the minute. She's learned that actually if she takes her food up there, Boss is too lazy to go up and try and pinch it off her. So as you can see, that middle podium, it's about 5.5, 6 foot. She made that in one bound and then ran up to the top podium as well. There's no steps up these either, so that's quite a feat in itself. But Samira and Amali, both 5 years of age, they're a bit smaller than Boss. They're about 130 kilos, 135, maybe 140 if I was to be slightly rude and address them like that. But obviously I don't want to do that. I want to stay on their good sides, really. I've got to work with them. So the girls here, they're actually related to Boss. They are both his sisters. So his brother and 2 sisters, which is one reason why we won't be expecting any cubs here at Newquay Zoo. A lot of people say, you've got male and female counterparts in there. You expecting any cubs anytime soon? We would say no. We're an on-breeding zoo when it comes to African lions. A, we're not involved in the European breeding programme. B, obviously, because they're related. That's not how we do things, no matter where you're from, okay? And these guys, obviously, saying, well, you've got brother and sisters, would you not swap and change that? Because these guys actually came to us from an area where they do quite a lot of breeding of African lions, we don't need any of their specific genetics in the natural population. Now, obviously, these guys, these 3 African lions, actually came to us from Longleat. Show of hands. Hands up, who's been to Longleat Safari Park before? Hands up, don't be shy. Who's been to Longleat? Hands up. Good stuff. Quite a few people not been, though. What are you doing with your life? Oh, my gosh. If you haven't been to Longleat before, look around at those people who had their hands up. They'll tell you what it's all about. It's wonderful. You get to drive round half of it. How good's that? It's brilliant. However, you do have to take quite a few very important decisions. Decision number 1, You have to decide what you're going to drive round, obviously, because maybe you're going with the whole family. Maybe it's just you and your partner. Maybe it's just you and your partner and your 2 kids. If your parents won't babysit, unfortunate. So it's just one of those. You need to decide whether your car's going to be big enough. Second of all, you need to decide whether you're going to risk driving through the monkey enclosure. Okay? And I speak from experience, folks. Okay? I took my Toyota Yaris. Don't judge, by the way. All right? I only just fit in it. I took my Toyota Yaris through the monkey enclosure. I lost 2 front water sprayers and the back windscreen wiper. And they graffitied me license plate number, said a very rude word afterwards. No, I'm just joking about the license plate. But they did do quite a bit of considerable damage. However, it always cheers me up because the person who was in front of me in the queue had quite a pimped out car. He'd been on Pimp My Ride on MTV or something like that. He had the big spoilers, massive exhaust compensating. Took it through the line enclosure. They pulled his spoiler off. Exactly, justice, eh? It's the little things that make your life just that 10 times better, isn't it? Now, these guys here, obviously, they came to us from Longley. That's why we are going to be breeding for these guys. For those of you who want all of the details, I've come up with one particular sentence, because obviously there may be kids in the crowd that haven't had the birds and bees chat. I've spent years coming up with this sentence, tried and tested, okay? This is for the tall people in the audience who might be wondering how we stop them, okay? Obviously, these guys, the girls do still come into season. So it's something that we take very big care of. And here's how we deal with it, folks. Okay, this is for the tall people. Tall people, listen up. Measures have been taken to make sure that boss up there can't... That's all you need to know. Simple as that. It took me years to come up with that. Oh. So, these guys, obviously, have finished all that food. They're going to be interacting now. You can see the girls. They like to play. Yeah, that's it. You hit him. Go on. And these guys, as you can see, nice little family unit. They are social. We're not going to be separating them. It's actually, they're the only social species of big cat that you find in the world. And so there's research coming out all the time to suggest otherwise. But these guys are the only recognised species that spend time in family groups. Does anybody know the name for a family group of lions? You can shout it out. Pride. Thank you very much. Absolutely, yes. Now, prides can be a variety of different sizes. You could have maybe 4, maybe 6, 8, 10, whatever. Some of the biggest family groups go up to maybe 25. They term that a super pride, which I think is just a great name for a group. I'd love to apply, but I don't think I've got all the credentials. However, these guys, those big family groups, obviously they've got to look after each other. The males look after the territory and everybody in it, whereas the females do the majority of the hunting. However, if you're in a big family group, you've got to get food for everyone, which means that when it comes to food, these guys need a veritable all-you-can-eat buffet, which normally comes in the size of something rather large, like a buffalo, even giraffe, and sometimes nowadays lions have been seen tackling elephant as food out in the wild. They have done. Elephants vary in different sizes, from sort of half-a-ton littlies, all the way up to 6.5, 7-ton bull elephants. Now, that's probably a bit much for lions to tackle, but on average, if they're 3 ton and you've got lions tearing them down, that is a force of nature, folks. That's the largest mammal on the planet. If we are overrun with lions, there'll be no hope for us. So it's just one of those things to bear in mind. Now, I'm going to give you guys a chance to dictate how much you learned today, because I can talk about the food that we give them here, but only if you're willing. Because obviously I know some people might have sensitive ears, they don't really want to know too much about it. However, it's a naturalistic food source for them. So I'll do it by way of a show of hands, okay? You stick your hands up if you want to hear, and you keep your hands down if you don't. Simple as that. I'll do a little head count, okay? If I see more than half of you with your hands up, I'll tell you on the count of 3, okay? So if you want to know what our lion's having for their lunch, stick your hands up after 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's most of you, innit? Good stuff. Right, okay. You lot aren't daft, are you? You're not shy. Right, so. Oh, don't show them that, my love. The girl, they'll come after it. She's got a big giraffe here. Probably have it as food. It's all right, it's inflatable. They just play with it. So, these sort of things. Feeding with these guys, we've got to keep them fighting fit, physically. Because obviously they're not hunting out in the wild. So we do sometimes have to, we do sometimes have to taper their diet for that. Which, for one, is why we only feed them 5 days out of the week. But 2, Right, and this is the details behind it. Boss, Samir and Amali, the type of food we give them here, today they've been having horse. Technically what it is wild Dartmoor and Exmoor pony. That's wild, okay? We haven't nipped down the local livery and pinched Florence's 6-hand pony, okay? We haven't done that, all right, I promise you. Okay, these don't belong to anyone in particular, because we're actually very fortunate down in the southwest, Dartmoor, Exmoor, those national park areas. It's one of the only places they've got wild roaming pony now. And actually, they've actually been left to overpopulate. Now, horses, if they overpopulate, there's not enough food for them. There's not enough food for the other livestock that are in that area. But not only that, obviously they eat grass. If they eat too much grass, the grass gets too short, which means that not enough flowers grow. If not enough flowers grow, there's not enough bugs. If there's less bugs, there's less birds. And it completely detracts from that whole environment. So actually, just by being picky with our Lions menu, we're actually saving the natural environment in our national parks, but also making sure that our lions are taken care of to the best of our ability as well. Now, it's not just food or nutritional enrichment, is what we term it. It's not just nutritional enrichment that we do with our lions. We also have the social aspect of it, so social enrichment, but we also provide these guys with forms of entertainment, things like that. So what we also do is, if you have a look in that enclosure, there's a couple of rather large footballs. These guys are big fans of the footballs, Champions League, Europa, whatever, they watch it, they're not bothered, they've got a TV indoors. I'm joking, they don't have a TV indoors, we don't spoil them that much. However, they do have underfloor heating. Very posh indeed. Yeah, exactly, woo! So, these guys here, obviously, we put the footballs in there for them to sort of, to knock around, that sort of thing, to sort of play about. But as well as that, these guys, we try and stimulate their natural senses. So those two rather large footballs in there, they do knock them around, they do like a bit of football. However, we try and manipulate their sense of smell. So we sometimes put big sacks in there full of zebra bedding. It's a natural play item for them. It smells great, but we've actually taken it a bit further. We started experimenting. And what I mean by that is, we've got friends that work at Boots and Superdrug, and they've started donating us their old testers of perfumes and colognes to see which ones the lions prefer. It's like liquid catnip, they absolutely love it. Once they get that up their nostrils, they lose the plot. They go batty for about 10 minutes and then they sleep for the rest of the afternoon. And this is one thing I want us to dwell on a little bit, folks, because if there's one fact I want you to take away with you today, it's this, right, okay? Lions, whilst they play football for you this afternoon, they can sleep for 19 to 21 hours of the day. 19 to 21 hours. Hands up if that sounds all right to you. Thought it might be the case. Yep, absolutely. We all like a bit of a nap. If you didn't put your hand up then, you are lying to yourself and me and everyone around you. But it's something that we want to take into account. And so these guys here, obviously, we want to enrich them. I know they sleep a lot of the time, but we want to provide for them as well. All those different things. And you can see they have a bit of a play around. They've got that social aspect to look after. Okay, and at certain times of the month, you know, it was almost like Marvin Gaye's been playing in the background. They do like a bit of romance every now and again. Certain times of the month only. All right, folks. But these guys, one of the last things that we do, obviously, we put those perfumes around just to see what they like. And this is a trick of the trade. Okay, trade secrets. You take them away with you today. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, you can listen to this opposite ways if you like. Okay. The female lionesses, their favourite male cologne at the minute, they absolutely love anything to do with Paco Rabanne. They do, they love it. Honestly. We spritz that around the enclosure and they go we lock them inside. So they think there's food, they go and have a look around the enclosure. As soon as they smell it, they start licking it, rolling in it, and they go mad for 5 minutes. You know, like your cat does at home, if you give it catnip, it goes absolutely bonkers, starts climbing the drapes. These guys are the same, except they can start climbing the tree. That's when we start to worry. But don't worry, they won't make it out. Tree's not a natural environment for a lion. They get up there, they get stuck, and then we laugh when they come out, ungracefully, bouncing off branches. But our male lion, he's a little bit different. He's a lion of exquisite taste. We've learnt this now, and we're not here to indulge his expensive taste, okay? But I'm here to let you know, folks, that actually our male lion boss, his favourite perfume, ladies, in the world, is Beyonce Heat. He loves it. He does. He can't get enough of it. We've got half a bottle in there at the minute, which obviously we're not using all the time because it is expensive. All right, but it's a great form of enrichment for him. We put that natural smell around there, and he has a whale of a time. Now, the reason we do all of this enrichment, folks, is for one clear thing. This enclosure here will not be the biggest enclosure you've ever seen lions in. We are fully aware of that. Newquay Zoo is not a massive zoo at all. We're quite a small zoo, compact. You can walk around in a nice, adequate time, do something with the rest of your afternoon if you so wish. So, I want your honest opinions here, because it's something we do deal with on social media, okay? We deal with it here. A lot of people come around the zoo, they wait till after they've left the zoo to voice that opinion, okay? So we'll get it out in the open here today. Don't be shy, I'm asking everyone to do the same. Look at this enclosure. The green, the tree, the podiums, the wood, the planks, the steel, the balls, the inside area, underfloor heating, take into that, all that account and what we do for the animals. Please raise your hands if you think this enclosure is too small. Be honest. Hands up if you think it's too small. Not a problem. Not a problem. Absolutely fine. Now, the reason we get you guys to sort of voice your opinions is just so we can have a bit of a view as to how you guys see it. And yet, I asked you to remember that one clear fact today. If you were to leave this whole talk remembering one thing, it's how long these guys slept. Because in reality, they don't go that far. You think about them out in the wild, they may roam sort of 5 kilometres, and it may be the male, only the male doing this, so he can scent mark his territory. I'll be honest, Boss still does that here. And for those of you down near the path, just down here, there's a palm tree just in front of you. That is his favourite spraying tree. If he walks towards you and turns his back on you, don't duck, he'll still get you. Move to the side, all right? Because he can spray about 8 foot and he don't come out for 2 weeks, that smell. So it's something you want to bear in mind. It happened about 3 months ago, I'm not joking. It was raining at the time. There wasn't many people here. I wasn't thinking about it. I should have been. Bless her, the poor old lady. I know she had a Macintosh on, but it hit her right in the face. I couldn't have felt more sorry for her. So, I'm letting you know now, folks, for your own safety. I hope you appreciate it, okay? If he comes down that end. And for those of you stood under the trees around the edge, he likes that area too. Anywhere in that corner. Just be warned, all right? If he turns his back on you, that's when he's liable to hit you in the face with it, all right? So, really simple, okay? The reason we ask you guys to admit this is because so we can highlight this point. He still gets to do all those natural behaviours. These guys don't have to hunt. They are essentially living at an all-inclusive resort. They get their food brought to them 5 days out of the week, more often than they would get it out in the wild. I think you'll agree they're in very, very good shape. They don't look stressed. They're enjoying interacting with each other. They're knocking the football about, having a very relaxed afternoon. I think you'll agree they look really, really healthy. And I've just listed all of these things we do to help them out. So I'm here to reassure you folks. This enclosure isn't too small. Of course it could be bigger. However, we don't have that much room to expand. We've got houses all around us. We're an urban zoo, kind of like Bristol, somewhere like that. If we extended any further, Mrs. Smith's back garden wouldn't be able to house her Jack Russell because the lions would have eaten it, all right? So we obviously can't go that much further. But this is why we interact with our animals so much. It's because they haven't got the biggest enclosures. But the simple fact of the matter that you have to remember, folks, if this enclosure wasn't big enough, they wouldn't be in there. I can promise you that, okay? It's part of the legal rules and regulations we have to follow. So, with that in mind, folks, lions out in the wild are the ones I want you to turn your attention to. So here today, I want you to do one thing to help out. Take pictures, take videos, take little boomerangs on Instagram, whatever you fancy doing. Put a Snapchat filter on them. I bet they look really cute with bunny ears as a lion. But you can take those home. You spread them online, okay? You can share them, Facegram, Instabook, whichever one of those you want to use. Share them with your friends, family, people you've recently connected with from school that you don't even care about anymore. Just share it with them. Get them to go and visit a zoo with lions in. That's what we can do. To talk about these guys is much, much better, much easier to do short term, okay? And so hopefully, folks, you've had a good chance to get a few pictures here today. Hope you've had a good chance to have a good look at our lovely 3 African lions. If you've got any questions about them, do feel free to come and talk to me. That's what I'm here for, folks. The next thing that we've got going on this afternoon, we're going to be feeding the world's rarest species of pig, the Vizian warty pigs.